Every time I watch this video, I'm absolutely certain. Yes, capybaras are basically fish. It's truly amazing. Underwater, they maintain that calm, serene expression, paddling their hooves slowly and steadily. It really looks like they're strolling through the water, just like a fish. Some people say, capybara, capybara, it's truly born for the water. Its ears can seal shut, and its eyes can withstand pressure. If you pet one, you'll notice its fur doesn't feel like the soft, fluffy texture of a cat or dog. Instead, it's a bit like touching your own hair, rough yet smooth. In fact, like human hair, this unique fur structure is specially designed for swimming. So why don't capybaras have tails? Actually, the reason is exactly the same as why you don't have a tail. Capybaras also walk upright. Take a look at the comparison of tailbones. From left to right, you'll see a human, a capybara, and a monkey. Notice something? Humans stand the straightest, with the most reduced tailbone, followed by capybaras. Monkeys, on the other hand, have their hips low to the ground, held back by their tails, so they're never able to fully stand up. So to walk upright, tails had to go. But how did humans give up their tails and learn to stand? Experts say it was to reach for and carry fruit. But don't forget the classic mudflat evolution theory. How did humans really learn to stand upright? Look at capybaras. Could it be that, like our ancestors, they lived on mudflats, using buoyancy to slowly learn to stand upright? So, capybaras really are like fish. With their webbed feet, they're working hard, evolving in a fishy direction. Take, for instance, a capybara named Awan. One day, visitors found Awan lying on his side, sound asleep in the water for hours. They worried he might have accidentally drowned, but the zookeepers assured them he was fine. Sure enough, the next second, Awan stood up and even blew bubbles through his nose. And then there's this video, watching a capybara swim. You'll see it's way more graceful than the carp on camera, even doing consecutive little jumps. Watching a capybara underwater really does look like watching a fish. But there's an even more interesting story behind this capybara fish idea. If you ask a devout Catholic friend, especially one who follows the Roman Church, is a capybara a fish? They'd confidently tell you, yes, the Church has declared it a fish. Sounds like a joke, right? Well, here's the story behind it. In 1538, while medieval doctrines were still going strong, waves of missionaries had already arrived in the South American jungles to spread their faith. It wasn't long before these missionaries were baffled. They had come to preach the gospel, expecting full conversions, yet the local people were still happily eating capybara during Lent. According to Catholic doctrine at the time, there were many fasting days, far more frequent than today. Beyond the main 40-day Lent period every spring, there were additional fasts for occasions like Jesus' birth and resurrection. Altogether, nearly a third of the year was spent fasting. While the missionaries could grit their teeth and manage in the jungle, the newly converted natives weren't quite as willing. So, with a mix of guilt and urgency, the missionaries began writing letter after letter to the Vatican pleading, "This animal has webbed feet, and life in the South American jungle is harsh. For the sake of God and the need for protein, we beg the Church to officially recognize it as a fish." After all, during Lent, meat was forbidden, but fish was allowed. For example, the brant was once classified as a fish simply because it had webbed feet. Certain waterfowl, which could reproduce in water without mating, were also deemed safe to eat during fasts, as their meat was believed not to incite desire. But the strangest case was the rabbit. Some priests argued that a developing rabbit embryo wasn't technically meat, but rather a sort of fluid organism inside the rabbit's womb. So yes, rabbits were also considered some type of fish, at least one that was permissible to eat. So with all these precedents in mind and out of sympathy for the hardships of missionary work, the Church finally gave its official stamp. Fine, it's a fish. And that was that. Our poor capybara was added to the menu. Apparently, it tastes a lot like rabbit, rich and flavorful, and it's still a well-known dish in Venezuela today. Alright, now you know that capybaras are also fish. That's all for today's story. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.